AITA for freaking out when my wife locked our son out of the house at night after he drank alcohol. I am 39. Have a 16-year-old son with my wife. F40. This incident happened a few days ago and she's still mad at me. I was on a work trip, so my wife was at home with our son. When I got back, I found out that he had been hanging out with his friends and they convinced him to drink some beer. And he got a little drunk. I'm not saying what he did was right, but him and I had a talk about it and it's fine. The problem is that when he came home and my wife found out, she was furious and kicked him out and refused to let him back in until the morning. He was begging her to let him, but she wouldn't. When I found out, I was furious. Regardless of what he did, she made a slightly drunk teenager stay outside by himself at night. Something very bad could have happened to him. We had a huge argument over it. I asked her how the hell she thought that was okay. She just kept saying that it's our son's fault for drinking alcohol. My wife isn't really talking to me now and my son isn't talking to his mom. I feel like I'm in the right, but maybe I'm not. AITA? NTA, your wife single-handedly taught your son that if something is wrong, he can't trust her to keep him safe. Withholding safety is not a punishment. It's cruel. I really hope your son has seen you stand up for him on this. That you have or will sit down with him and tell him that what he did wasn't okay, but that her reaction was entirely unreasonable and unacceptable. She cannot do this kind of thing in the future. Talk with both of them about what rules he is not allowed to break and what will happen if he does. None of which should be abusive responses intended to scare or embarrass him. NTA. No matter if he was a little drunk or very drunk, he's a vulnerable minor and I would not leave him outside. There are a lot of other ways of setting high expectations and disciplining a kid. Child neglect isn't one of them. You two need to talk and get on the same page as far as discipline goes, so you have a set of consequences and rules you are both comfortable with. NTA. I get that she's trying to teach your son that actions have consequences, but the much more important lesson to teach here is, when I screw up I can always go home. Mom and Dad might be mad, but I know I will be safe with them and we can talk it out. Punish him for drinking underage, but that's being grounded or having your driving privileges taken away. This is an important moment in the parent-child relationship. You want to be home base, not the police here. Just to be clear, I am not in any way saying don't punish him. He did something wrong. But coming home drunk your first time drinking is not the time to be berated and kept outside. It's the time to hear, sleep it off, we'll be discussing this in the morning. Signed, the son of parents who immediately punished and did things like your wife did. So now we have a very superficial relationship. They get next to no news info because I'm still nervous it will somehow be used against me. And I don't seek them out whenever something happens to me. NTA. He is not the first 16-year-old to show up at home drunk. Giving him a lecture is fine. Locking him outside is not. He is a minor. Safety should still be considered. That is one of your tasks as a parent. NTA. The safest place for him would have been inside with a mother taking care of him while admonishing him for being an inebriated teenager. NTA. But your wife sure is. I'm sure Leslie Mahaffey's parents wished they had never locked their daughter out. I think about that poor girl every time I hear a parent locking their child out overnight. There are so many safer ways to get your point across. NTA. One of Paul Bernardo's victims was grabbed after she was locked out of the house for breaking curfew. Extreme example, yes, but there are better ways to make a point than locking a teen out of the house. Good job. In case he ever does it again, she's made it that he will ride with a friend who may be drunk, as he knows he can't call her for a ride. Well done, mother. Talk about stupid. Great. Now your son will drink behind her back and will not return home out of fear for her reaction if he's too drunk or call her. He might not even call you when he's too drunk in case you tell her. Good job, Mom. You're NTA. NTA, your son made a mistake with your wife's reaction. He is likely to never tell her anything ever again. She has just destroyed the bond of trust he had. She needs some counseling to try and work this out. Good luck. NTA. Leslie Mahaffey, a victim of serial killers Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka, was locked out of her house by her parents the night they kidnapped her. They took turns making videos of them raping and torturing her for days before they killed her. Have your wife research that case, and I bet she never locks him out again. Edit. I got a bunch of awards for this comment. Thank you for that. Although I have gotten banned every other time I've been on Reddit in the past for arguing with trolls and have no idea WHST to do with them. As a mom myself, I would rather my teen child call me and ask me to come pick them up completely drunk than not feel like I am their safe place. Even though they did something they shouldn't have. You can be disappointed without being abusive. NTA. Your wife is, though. As a parent, your wife is and just a horrid parent. What did she think were the possible outcomes, short-term and long-term, of kicking her son out while impaired? It's ludicrously stupid. Just because she couldn't handle her feelings about him doing something predictably wrong. NTA. And she's caused long-term harm. NTA. My daughter pulled the same stunt at 16. She stayed at a friend's house and they polished off a bottle of vodka. She initially claimed flu the next day but soon confessed, "I did one of the worst things I've done to her." I laughed. I was glad she was honest, but the hangover was more punishment than I could deliver. She's not had that much alcohol since and starts grad school in September. Google. Leslie Mahaffey. Your wife needs to consider if she wants a son or a funeral. NTA. NTA. Your wife is a maniac. Who hasn't had their teen come home drunk? Its safest place who be the inside of his home. NTA. Bare minimum of being a parent is not kicking your child out of the house. And she couldn't even do that. Your wife is the top. This is unbelievably dangerous and a swell way for you son to never trust your wife. NTA. What your wife did was criminal and she could be put in jail for child abuse, neglect and potentially lose custody of him. NTA. Tell your wife to look up Paul Bernardo in Ontario. He and his wife are evil. Murdering people. They tortured and killed 2 girls and the wife's own sister. One of the girls that was murdered was 16 and locked out by her parents one night to teach her a lesson. She was taken by them and dead 3 days later. You and your wife do not want to have that guilt on you.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.